We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
President Biden's reputation on the world stage is dwindling. Far from being a case of the adults are back in charge, it seems we have petulant children unwilling to take responsibility for their actions. But how does this impact American readiness? And is the world a more dangerous place with Joe Biden in the White House? Well, we're joined by former Deputy Undersecretary of Defense Controller and author Dave Patterson to help us fathom the incredible shrinking Joe Biden. Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you, Mark. Happy to be with you.
Great. So when Joe Biden became president, we were informed that America's reputation on the world stage would be restored. Now, let's dig into that. First, has this prognostication proved true or false?
False.
Okay, why?
Well, I think that there are two things that are in play here. First of all, when Donald Trump was the president, you could not deny that he was in charge. You may not have liked his style, and the Europeans, of course, with their genteel approach to international relations, found him boorish, I'm sure. But at the same time, they took him seriously. And when he said something, they had a pretty good idea that he was going to carry out what he said. So he was predictable. And that's an important aspect for people who are in positions of authority and responsibility. Secondly, I think that they found President Biden to be less serious. And when I say that, I think that this is indeed a Wizard of Oz moment. You have the United States, Oz, this imposing figure with smoke and bellowing. And what you find out is that it is all being run by some diminutive little fellow behind a curtain. And, you know, this is not a good look for the United States as a nuclear power. And I think that gives Europeans and the world in general pause.
Let's dive back into that then, Dave. So as a follow-up, what was the U.S. reputation under Donald Trump? You say that he was predictable in a way that he would do what he said he was going to do, which is a rarity in modern politics, certainly. And I know the international media, they were very much in concert to try and do him down. But there were no new wars. There was cooperation with North Korea, of all things, which seems to have gone by the wayside. And it seems to me that the world was a whole lot safer then under Donald Trump than it is under Joe Biden. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that's exactly right. I mean, it was because of the fact that Donald Trump was not a conventional president, politically driven, but rather a president who was driven by his own view of the world, which was not necessarily consistent with what everyone else thought. But at the same time, as you say, you cannot deny the fact that under Donald Trump, things were much more quiet. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that people, though on the one hand believed that he was going to do what he said, on the other hand, they were somewhat afraid of the fact that he would do what he said.
Yeah, that reminds me, very recently, an old video of Donald Trump resurfaced in which he was lecturing the German government that this was about 4 years ago, saying that you're going to end up dependent on Russian oil if you go ahead with this Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And at the time, that was widely poo-pooed by the American media. And just last week, Olaf Scholz, the new chancellor, said, yes, we have become too dependent upon Russian oil and energy. So, yeah, another case of another nickel in the Donald Trump was right jar, I think. So let's talk about another issue that's kind of gone under the radar, Dave. Now, Joe Biden, he's trying to reignite the Iran nuclear deal that was first brought in by President Barack Obama, then dumped by Donald Trump. What does the Biden administration hope to achieve by bringing this back?
Well, what I see is a little bit scary is the fact that, like the Obama administration, the Biden team sees this negotiation as a must-have no matter what. No matter how much we give up, no matter how bad the negotiating outcome is, their view is it's an outcome regardless. And that just isn't how you do things. I mean, it's, unless of course you want a bad outcome, and of course, and the JCPOA back in 2015 was in fact a bad outcome.
Well, it's like walking into a car dealership and saying, this is how much I have in my bank account. Now, what kind of good deal can you do me?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, and there, that is a really a hallmark of this entire administration, Mark. It's they go into a negotiation and say, oh, okay, here's what we want to give up. And please, 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 won't you agree with us? Well, I mean, that's silly.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking that despite the fire and fury presently aimed at Russian President Vladimir Putin, that it's the Russians who are helping the US negotiate this with Iran?
Oh, it is entirely perverse. I mean, here we are, beating up on Russia, and justifiably so, and perhaps not enough. On the other hand, we're in this ridiculous negotiating from the sideline, because of course we pulled out in 2018 of the JCPOA, so we're not an official participant, and have to rely on the Russians to negotiate effectively for us. And remember, if you look back and put your Wayback hat on, back in starting in 2013 through 2015, the 20 months of the negotiation, you had China in the negotiation with Wang Yi, foreign minister, still foreign minister, and you had Russia with Sergei Lavrov, who was foreign minister and still foreign minister. So we're right back where we started, with the same characters, and will no doubt have the same outcome.
Just as a final question here, Dave, I want to delve a little bit into the historical context, as we do have our Wayback hats on right now. When this deal was first being negotiated under Obama, with the help of Russia back then, isn't that the exact time when Putin annexed the Crimea region? And are we seeing the exact same thing happening now with the rest of Ukraine? And if so, why is President Biden refusing to learn from history?
Well, the answer to your first question is yes, of course it is. The Russians took over Crimea in 2014, and between 2013 and 2015, we were negotiating with the Russians for the Iran deal, and actually we were relying on the Russians to be adults in all of this, while at the same time putting sanctions on them for their mischief in Crimea and Donbass. We're right back there. This is exactly where we are again. And you talk about, the perverseness of this whole scene. We should just pull out of the JCPOA redux and say, when you guys become adults, and oh, by the way, we're going to want you to stop your terrorism and financing terrorism, and you're going to stop building your medium range and long range missiles, or we're out of it. But that won't happen.
Possibly not under this administration. Dave Patterson, thank you ever so much.
Hey, thank you, Mark. Good to be with you.
Coming up after this short break, we're talking liberty with Scott Cosenza on all things constitutional. Don't go anywhere. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
We're doing it for real, really real. Liberty Nation.
And Jeff Charles, contributor for LibertyNation.com.
I think we're starting to make an impact. Liberty style, fight for freedom.
Daily tracking poll sponsored by Liberty Nation for Thursday.
Mentioned by Dan Bongino, Rasmussen, Jordan Peterson, and
I
others.
can do it again if you want me to.
Cited in Mark Levin's American Marxism.
I think we're starting to make a really big impact. Getting noticed. We're doing it. Rock on. I'm gone.